Hey guys, I'm May Sheehan, and I'm here with my partners, Jordan McGuire and Zoe Phalen. And today we're going to teach you a little bit about extreme programming, an agile methodology. So to give you a little overview of what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about what XP is, covering its origins, strengths, and weaknesses, and then get into a little bit of the case studies, and then move on to the method comparisons and how XP varies from other methods and how it can also be used with other methods. And then we'll conclude with an activity to really wrap up the workshop with an activity to get your head around everything that we've gone over. So what is XP? Extreme programming was first used on the Chrysler Comprehensive Compensation Program, which was initiated in the mid-90s and switched to an XP project when Kent Beck was brought back onto the project to improve the performance of the system. And this project helped to bring the XP methodology into focus. And overall, it's an adaptive programming style created to absorb user and engineer feedback and collaboratively produce an efficient product by a team. XP was designed and developed to address the specific needs of software development by small teams in the face of vague and changing requirements. And the collaborative practice of the software principle differentiates from other previous programming software. And its 5 core values circle around communication, simplicity, feedback, courage, and respect. So getting into its advantages, number 1 is its lower costs, from eliminating the defects early and having quality results from unit testing. There's also a higher user satisfaction because there's probably going to be no canceled projects because there's such a great transparency and communication factor between the customers and the designers. There's also a high reliability for this practice as the programming is done in pairs simultaneously. It's also a very timely process because you're putting all of this into a process as soon as possible and you're choosing to update it as you go. And that's kind of like the whole premise of XP. And there's also a very positive staff turnover, which is created from the strong team spirit from all of the intense collaborative efforts. And it's also very accommodating to business changes. So now onto the disadvantages. There is the code overcomes design disadvantage, which can result in everything failing to implement the software requirements fully. And there's also a problem with location, as it's difficult to implement when the customer is away from the development team. Also, sometimes there can be a lack of documentation, which leads to high risks of unexpected failures that cannot be tracked. And there's also a factor of stress, as you're more likely to make mistakes while coding with tight deadlines.
All right, now we're going to discuss situations that can utilize XP methodology, and then following that, we're going to provide a case study that shows XP in action. So to start, when should I apply XP methodology? XP methodology is utilized in a number of situations, mostly in the software development industry. It's best implemented in situations that have dynamically changing software requirements limited to time-sensitive projects. It's also often imposed when there are a multitude of risk issues regarding new technology and platforms that provide no constant functionality features. For our case study, I want to introduce you to Crispy Solution. They are a small web development company specializing in web portals for other small companies and startups. They started as a part-time infrastructure with employees that were already working for major IT organizations. Following the success of their ventures, they hoped to merge into a full-time position. Their problems. Crispy Solution encountered a number of problems throughout their venture. To start with, they lack a structured approach. They also have little to no communication between team members and clients. Finally, developers only worked on tasks that they were assigned and nothing more. So, how does XP methodology benefit Crispy Solution? First, the CEO took on the role of project manager and served as both the customer representative and tracker. He then delegated teams and provided an open channel of communication between all parties. He also implemented paired programming to promote collaboration. And then he finally implemented customer testing as they completed the project during their 12 to 15 month restricted time frame. So why was it successful for them? XP allowed for better collaboration, communication, and feedback amongst all parties involved. It also allowed for better task and time management. Finally, increased CEO involvement, taking on the role as project manager, allowed the main party to be involved without taking a technical position.
Now that you've gotten to learn a little bit more about XP, let's go into some method comparisons. So overall, while XP practices overlap with project management and organizational practices, its primary focus is on the technical aspects of development. But just like many other methods, XP also focuses on mindset and behaviors. Think back to the values we previously talked about. There are also a few differences between methods when comparing them with XP individually. When comparing XP with Scrum, XP teams allow the customer to share stories and make development decisions, whereas with Scrum, the team makes their own decisions. As for XP and Kanban, Kanban has a continuous workflow and undefined roles, while XP runs on iterations and defined development roles. When comparing XP with DSDM method, the DSDM method places more emphasis on the pre-project setup with a defined project lifecycle, whereas XP emphasizes the development phase with no defined project lifecycle. And finally, when comparing XP and Lean, XP focuses on iterations, whereas Lean focuses on faster MVP deliveries. Now, can XP be used with other methods? And the answer is yes. XP can be used with other methods, and it is often recommended, but how? Typically, XP practices focus on technical aspects of a project, whereas the other method focuses on organizing the process. Now let's take a quick look at how XP can be used with an agile methodology called Scrum. If you think sprints are fast, when you combine Scrum with XP, you create a hyper-performing team that is constantly iterating each day or even hour. Stories per sprint are adjusted. XP requires that an iteration is completed in 1 week, which is about 40 hours. Therefore, a Scrum team will adjust the number of stories per sprint as they only work 40 hours per sprint. This specific duration is important and one of the rules of XP. Having a 1-week sprint means the customer will get faster feedback in the progress of software development. Essentially, Scrum focuses on the outward processes and themes such as cultural and systemic changes. XP, on the other hand, will take care of the inward processes, specifically the engineering and technical themes. The main suggestion when combining the two methods is to use all Scrum practices and try incorporating key XP technical practices such as continuous integration, test-driven development, and peer programming. We are now going to apply a few XP practices and rules to an exercise to help you better understand their importance. But don't worry, there is no coding involved. So the NMI team has reached out to you and asked for your help planning Emerge, an end of the year event that showcases all of their graduates' final capstone projects. The event is in 1 month. Make sure to grab a pencil and paper or have your notes app open on your computer, and let's get started. So let's start with week 1. You meet with NMI team at the beginning of the week, and Megan would like you to first find them a food vendor that will cater at the event. The requirement is that it has to be a local business in Athens. Pause the video, write down a potential vendor, and then press play to continue on. You meet with the NMI team at the beginning of week 2, and they love your choice of vendor. But Chris is concerned about those with dietary restrictions. How are you going to accommodate for these people? Once you revise your food vendor plan, this week, Chris would like you to find a form of entertainment for after the student presentations. He doesn't seem to have any specific requirements except that it should be pretty rad. Again, pause the video and make your plan, and then press play to continue. You meet with the NMI team at the beginning of week 3, and they are so excited about your choice of entertainment, but Leah has another requirement. She would like to include her pet corgi, Pip, in the entertainment. How are you going to combine your choice of entertainment and Pip? Once you modify your entertainment plan, this week, Leah would like you to find a keynote speaker. She says it must be someone from a tech company. You know the drill. Pause the video to make your plan and then press play to continue. You meet with the NMI team at the beginning of week 4, and they cannot believe you're able to hire that keynote speaker. John is ecstatic, but he wants to have a part in the keynote speech. How will you organize the speech so that John and your speaker have equal time to speak? Once you modify your speaker plan, everything is all set to be finalized. Megan is incredibly happy that the event was able to be planned a whole week before. So go ahead and pause the video one last time to make the final change to your plan, and then press play to continue. Congratulations, you did it. Emerge was a great success, thanks to you and your adaptability. Take some time, pause the video, and reflect on the activity with the questions below. Go ahead and write your answers below your Emerge plan. Now that you had some time to reflect, here are a few things that this exercise was supposed to help you understand regarding XP. According to XP practices, the customer always decides on which aspect of the project a team should start with, along with defining any requirements. This ensures a productive workspace, great communication, and constant feedback, which, if you haven't realized, are 2 of XP's values. Each week before Emerge, the NMI team decided what they wanted you to work on first and also provided you with some changing requirements each week. Overall, XP is used to help solve problems with vague and/or changing requirements. Just as you had to adjust your plans with the changing requirements each week while planning for Emerge, XP teams must do the same with each of their iterations. Rather than completing a project all at once and then showing the customer the final project, XP emphasizes the importance of breaking up the project into small, weekly releases to show the customer. This is why you met with the NMI team each week and showed them increments of your work, which eventually all added up to be a solid, finalized plan that was able to be implemented a week before the event even started. We hope you enjoyed learning a bit about XP. We dropped a message in our 7-Eleven Slack channel about this workshop. If y'all would like to share your Emerge plans with everyone along with your reflection, please feel free to start a thread within that message. Thank you so much for listening.